Suddenly Soundtracks are here to provide you. Suddenly Soundtracks will show you care. Oh, be more the soundtrack inside you with sweet understanding. Oh, with sweet understanding. With sweet understanding. Soundtracks are your friend.
Hey guys, welcome to Suddenly Soundtracks, the show where we judge a movie solely based on the soundtrack that it provides. And tonight, we're doing a movie that we did years ago called Nightmare Before Christmas, going through it track by track by track by track. And I'm on hand here with a bunch of fantastic ladies, and it's going to be a great party, a Halloween party. Let's rock this sucker. I'm going to introduce everybody, then go into some of the plugs that I have to do for the actual channel itself. So I'm going to throw it over to Alex Mack. Alex has been on Suddenly Soundtracks before with Janine on Dreamgirls. Thanks for returning, Alex. Alex, what are your thoughts on Nightmare Before Christmas, and when did you first see it, and why do you love it so much?
I probably didn't see it until maybe middle school age, personally. Both my parents actually actively dislike this movie, so I kind of found it a little bit later in life. You know, through like my middle school emo Hot Topic days, I was like, oh, this is a good time. So I love it. I love the soundtrack. I still listen to on occasion pretty regularly.
110%. Abby Field has also been on a couple of times. Abby, what are your thoughts on Nightmare Before Christmas? Why do you like it?
I love it. I think the animation itself is so cool, and I just could watch this movie during all seasons, Halloween, in the in-between season, and Christmas, so I'm excited.
Chat's really excited to talk music. Kelsey Kirkland, this is the first time you're actually on, I think, the PJ Campbell Network and Suddenly Soundtracks. It's so good to, and I think first time you're on call with me, Kelsey, but you know her from Call to Action. She's amazing. Kelsey, what are your thoughts on Nightmare Before Christmas, and when did you first see it?
I first saw it way early in childhood, and I'll admit I'm probably the outcast here. I don't like this movie that much, but I do like the soundtrack. So, I also, in high school, actually worked at Hot Topic, so this is what we played on repeat in the Christmas season the entire time. So, I know these songs well, I enjoy them, but yeah, as long as I can remember, I've watched this movie. Really.
Yeah, that's a great viewpoint. I like to have somebody on that's not necessarily 100% positive, because it adds to the conversation. And don't feel threatened if you're the only one that doesn't like a song. It's going to be interesting to see that dynamic. And I was she was the first guest on Nightmare Before Christmas a couple years back with Robert from Late to the Party, but Vanessa from Late to the Party. Vanessa, you love Nightmare Before Christmas, and we have a story about how we kind of ripped it a new asshole last time. What are your thoughts on Nightmare and a second chance to correct some wrongs?
I think it's just the way that the wording was.
Yeah, the score.
Or the scoring for it here. I think the scoring now is a little bit more clear, and I have my scoring ready to go. I love this movie because it is unique. And I love Danny Elfman and his voice, so this is going to be exciting.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. But before we get into that, I just have a couple of things to share. This weekend, we're all going to be a part of it. Smash-a-thon to raise awareness for Smash Cancer for Kevin Smets, November 14th to 15th. We're all doing a part of it. It's going to be over 25 hours, I think, and it's going to be an amazing gathering of the community, and it's for Kevin. We all love Kevin, and we just hate cancer. And you know what? Kevin is a powerhouse. He's going to kick its ass, and bada bing, bada boom, we're going to be there for him. So make sure to check that out. And also, if you missed it, we did Soundboard Suddenly Soundtracks with Some Call Me Johnny and his crew for charity, and we did a charity event that raised over $11,000 this weekend for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So that was an amazing, amazing event. And then if you haven't checked it out, last night they did a Nightmare Before Christmas watch along. The people on the channel not on this Suddenly soundtrack. So if you want to hear their thoughts on it, make sure to check out the playback on that. So I just also want to shout out our patrons, executive producers Brandy Parker and Ricardo Franco, and our Ruby tier producers Brandon Buckingham, Fares Mithana, Molly Damon, Jake Berlin, Michael K, Stephen Wright, and Bidur. You guys kick ass and you take names. Okay, guys, so we go with Suddenly Soundtracks. If you've been here before, it's simple. We go through each track song by song. Here's the score system. Hard rockin', we only get 2. Rockin', download it, shuffle it, one-time listen, and skip it. All right, if without further ado, let's rock this sucker to the end of time, and I'm going to throw it over to Vanessa.
Okay.
Vanessa, what is your thoughts, and what are your thoughts, and what do you give the first track, This Is Halloween?
It's a straight hard rockin' for me. I think this song, it sets the tone for the movie for me. Like, I'm so glad that they start the movie with this song.
Uh-huh.
And you just kind of go right into it. You're like, oh, okay, so this is how it's going to be. Sure, I'll go along for the ride. So I'll give it a hard rockin'.
Okay, just so you know that you only get 2 of them. So this is your first one right off the bat.
Yep.
That's interesting. Alex, what are your thoughts on the opening number, This Is Halloween, and what do you give it?
Definitely one of my favorite songs of the entire soundtrack, but I personally don't want to give it a hard rockin', so I'll give it a solid rockin' instead. I love
Saving it. All right, Abby, this is quick and easy. This Is Halloween. What are your thoughts on it, and what do you give it?
I'm going to also give it a hard rockin', because this is just the quintessential Halloween song, so I love this song.
I have to give it a rockin'. I have my 2 hard rockin' saved for 2 other songs, but yeah, I always say that if a song perfectly introduces a movie and makes it and sets the theme, it automatically gets a 5 out of 5 for me, because that's a job. That's a huge job for a song to do, and this does it in spades, and it's one of the best. Kelsey, what do you give This Is Halloween?
This is by far my favorite song on the soundtrack. It does set the tone for the movie. I gave it a 5 out of 5 rocking. If it was a Marilyn Manson cover, I might give it 6 because I love that cover a lot. But the movie version, solid 5 rocking.
110%. Also, just to make note, on the soundtrack, and it's pretty interesting, the overture and the intro is done by Sir Patrick Stewart. He got cut from the final film version, but I figured that was kind of an interesting take. Do you guys wish that Patrick Stewart was in the film, or do you think it flows without him?
I think it's take or leave it. Like, you can use him, but he doesn't necessarily need to be there.
I agree. I love him. Anything, get me more of him we can, but I don't think the movie hurts from him not being there either. So.
110%. So we're going to go into track number 2, which is Jack's Lament. And Kelsey, I'm going to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on the introduction to Jack and his lament? And basically, it's very somber after you get this hard, like, kind of upbeat number to open the film.
Yeah, it is very somber, but I love Danny Elfman's voice, and it just fits so well in that song. This is one that I don't go to a lot, though, to listen to, like, if I'm in the mood for the music and stuff like that. So I probably have it as, like, 3 for Shuffle It. You know, maybe it's getting listen to it, but it's not one that I'm like, I'm in the mood for a song, and I go to look for it.
It's very somber, and it's an interesting choice musically on the soundtrack to go into this. Alex?
It's a really great song. I think it's wonderful in the movie. However, I would give it a one-time listen.
Oh, why?
It's like, you know, I listen to it, and I mean, it's very specific to the movie, so I'm not going to be jamming out to it while in the shower, you know, versus a lot of some of the other songs. But it's a great song, but I'm only going to listen to it while watching the movie or on the rare occasion.
That's actually a very good point, and why I gave it a Shuffle It. I knocked it down a little bit, only because it's very specific to the movie, and by itself, outside of the film, I don't know if you would go back. I don't know if you would really go back to it, not for my personal taste, but it's still a beautiful number. And actually, it's sung by Danny Elfman, not the actual voice actor for Jack Skellington, and his voice is great. Abby?
I'm going to give it a Shuffle It.
Oh, okay.
It's not my favorite Jack song. I think Jack has some bigger bops on this soundtrack.
Oh, he does.
Which I know we'll get to, but it's not really kind of what Alex said. It's not really a fun song to listen to. Like, I think I mostly listen to it when I'm just shuffling, like literally shuffling the soundtrack, like just listening through the album. So it's not necessarily the first one I'll choose if I'm listening on Spotify or something. So.
Oh shit! I said LAMENT, not LAMENT. Oh shit.
No, we were all laughing at you. We were all.
Oh my god!
Like,
I didn't even notice.
LAMENT might be a cooler song.
You're so unprofessional. No,
I'm so unprofessional. Vanessa, what are your thoughts on Jack's LAMENT?
I say it works though if you put element, because he's kind of in his element when he's singing the song, so it works. But so the first time we did this, Nightmare Before Christmas, I did not rate it very well or rate it high. But I was listening to the soundtrack the last 2 weeks, just kind of get in the mindset, and I noticed going back to it more and more when I was listening to it. So I gave it a download. 4 out of 5. Download it. I love like that strong thing that Danny Elfman does at the very end of the song, where he's like getting real into it. So that's why I gave it a download.
Oh, and thank you, Maxwell, for fixing that. He hopped into the chat to do that. That's awesome. Jack's LAMENT is very specific to the actual song soundtrack itself. But this works in any Christmas playlist, and that's What's This? Abby, I'm going to throw it to you. You mentioned that you liked other Jack songs. Is this one of them?
Yes, I love this song. I'm going to give this a rockin' 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I love this song. I think it's so fun. I think the scene itself is really cool. It's just the lyrics are so good. It's just a very well-written song, and it's such an interesting song to like listen to, because I feel like every time I listen to it, I'm like back in the scene, learning what Christmas is with Jack. So I love this song.
It's the perfect song for like somebody, if you want to like put it on a Christmas playlist and just kind of describe what a newborn baby would feel like, or somebody first experiencing Christmas. It's the perfect analogy for that. Vanessa.
I gave it a rockin', a 5 out of 5. I think this is a perfect Christmas song, and it that's why I put this song like in between Halloween and Christmas. Like, it's both because of this song. It's so much fun, and I love listening to it all the time. Like, not during the holiday season, and doing karaoke of the song is great too. So that's why I give it a rockin'. And I like the Fall Out Boy version as well.
Oh, the Fallout! There's a special edition soundtrack with a disc 2 where like a bunch of like Marilyn Manson does "This Is Halloween." It's ridiculously good. Alex,
Apple?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wish we were discussing disc 2, because I would have been there. Alex, what are your thoughts on What's This?
Definitely a rocking. Personally, I don't give it a hard rocking. Like I said, we're kind of saving those personally. This is also, as much as I love the song, this is also not a song that I go to all that often personally. When it's a very specific one, and not only it's very specific to the movie, but I feel like I have to be in the mood to listen to this song, versus other ones, no matter when it pops up on my Spotify shuffle, I am like, heck yeah. But this one, I have to be in the mood to listen to it, but I still love it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. What's This is great. I gave it a solid download. It's phenomenal, especially it works in and out of context. It's joyful. It's 100% a Christmas song. Any other song on this soundtrack you can probably argue is more so leaning towards Halloween. This is your dead fast Christmas song, and it rocks. It's not a hard rock, and I'm saving my 2, but Kelsey.
This one I had it as download. Actually, I do enjoy this one quite a bit. Part of I call it my productivity playlist, because it's all really fast-paced, upbeat songs, trying to get stuff done, and I don't want to I want to keep my pace up, because it's just so much and so quick. And one of my favorite tropes in movies is always like the fish out of water story. In this song, that's his moment. He does not know where he is. He's trying to figure out. He's misunderstanding things he's seeing, and so it's a really fun song. But it's definitely, there's other songs I go to more on this soundtrack than that one.
Yeah, and since I went to you last, Kelsey, I'm going to go to you first for the town meeting song, which, honestly, in my opinion, gets a little overshadowed by everything else on the soundtrack, and I forgot it was an actual song, because it's more dialogue-based. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I had to go back and, like, after you sent us the list, I'm like, wait, which one's that? To look it up to make sure I knew, and it's a good song. It's a solid song, but you're right, it just gets kind of buried by all the amazing tracks around it, and so you kind of don't even, like, think of it as its own song. It's more just, like, a section of the movie where they kind of talk and sing-ish. So I have that one as a shuffle. Like, I'll listen to it if I have it on shuffle and it's coming on, but I'm never looking like, ooh, I'm in the mood for the town meeting song.
Yeah, I gave it a solid one-time listen just because, again, this is one that even worse doesn't translate that well to the soundtrack as it does to the actual film. Because they're literally showing you and telling you what's happening. It's kind of very operatic, but it works a lot better when you see the stop-motion animation, which is phenomenal, especially with the Christmas tree and everything. Vanessa?
I'm frozen.
Oh, you're frozen.
But that's okay.
It's all good.
You can just see my smiling face as I talk.
Okay, cool.
I gave this a one-time listen. I only really listen to this song when I'm watching the movie. Other than that, I really don't listen. Like, I'm like, it's kind of a song that I kind of skip over. So it's a one-time listen for me.
Cool. You're just going to drop out and come back in if your thing is all good?
Okay.
Cool. Just let me know. And I'm going to throw it over to Abby while you do that. Abby, what are your thoughts on town meeting song?
It's okay. I think I'm going to give it a shuffle it. I don't know. I feel like it's just average, and I can't even think of the melody in my head right now as we're like sitting here. Like every other song I've been like kind of singing in my head because I'm like, the other one I was like, what's this? And I was like, oh my God, iconic. Yeah. But like this one, I'm like, how does this one even go? So that's what I'm going to give it.
Yeah, it's clearly just like it's not that memorable, and I completely understand that. Alex, your thoughts?
I am just gonna echo everything Abby said. It's not particularly memorable to me. When I hear it in the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great song, but I'm never gonna go back and listen to it on the soundtrack purposefully, and it's not particularly a song that I catch myself like humming along to or anything personally. But it's solid. It's fine.
Yeah, I think the soundtrack actually goes back to back with another song that's kind of actually forgettable, which is Jack's Obsession. This is essentially the villagers are kind of noticing that Jack's acting very peculiar because this is after he comes back from Christmas Town and he's experimenting on the stuff up top in his attic. Alex, I'm going to throw it to you first since I went to you last. What are your thoughts on Jack's Obsession and kind of this kind of song that maybe also doesn't translate that well from a soundtrack point of view? I don't know.
Yeah, so I would probably have to say personally probably a one-time listen because it's a song that's very specific to the movie. It's not exactly a bop that I'm going to listen to outside of the movie. I'm not going to be humming along or anything to. When I watch the movie, it's great and it's all, but it's very specific to the story, so that's all.
I kind of agree with you on that. Abby?
I totally agree with Alex. It's a one-time listen for me. I probably skip it when I'm like listening to the album more, but I still like will listen to it if I'm listening to it in full. So it's a one-time listen. It's
110% like merited in the film, and I really commend them giving the this kind of like focuses on the villagers and the townsfolk. And I do like kind of like the characterization and the lyrics and the performances, and it's a cute scene. I gave it a little higher ranking. I gave it a shuffle it. It's not perfectly like something I would go back to again. Like there's a couple of these at the beginning part of the movie that maybe the later half of the soundtrack is a little stronger. But with Jack's Obsession, it's still a solid kind of thing. But it is filler, and I completely attest to that. Kelsey.
I had mentioned earlier I'm not a hugest fan of this movie, but that scene is my favorite. I'm a daughter of a scientist, like just saying of the one big test learning and they're trying to figure stuff out. And it's a song that as soon as you name it, I play it in my head because I like that scene. So for me, as download it because of what that scene means to me. But I also totally get everyone's arguments that it is kind of, as a song by itself, kind of forgettable, but it just ties me back to that scene every time I hear it. So I do enjoy it.
Yeah, I get that. And Vanessa.
Are you ready for this curveball? I give it a hard rockin'. I love this song.
Okay.
This is my go-to song every time I listen. This song and this is Halloween. I just like Kelsey said, it's like this scene in the movie. I absolutely love this scene and the way that the song is like something's wrong with Jack, something's up with Jack. Like I love it so much.
It's good.
So I give it a hard rocking because I could actually listen to the song without the context of the movie like every day if I wanted to.
I love that I went to you last. I love it. I love it. Okay. I went to you last. And I'm going to you first for one of the biggest bops in the damn movie, Vanessa. Kidnap the Mr. Sandy Claus. What are your thoughts on this?
This is a bop, and this song is a lot of fun to listen to, so I give it a download.
Okay.
Because it's not like top tier for me, but it's still good.
It's a bop. Kelsey.
Yeah, I have the exact same ranking, download, where if I'm listening to it and I'm in the mood, like, oh, okay, to me, this is a little bit more Christmassy just because, it's talking about Santa Claus and things like that. So when I'm in that mood, I will look forward to put it on. So, yeah, I give it a 4 for a download.
Yeah, it also foreshadows the main antagonist who only has like 10 minutes of screen time in the movie, but I really love the harmonies of Catherine O'Hara, Danny Elfman, and Paul Rubens, who you know as Pee Wee Herman. Alex.
I'm using my first hard rockin'. This is my song. I love this song so much. This is my Halloween, y'all. This is my what's this. The other ones I feel kind of indifferent about, but this song is, a lot of it's also very sentimental because I remember being in high school, like I mentioned with my Hot Topic days, and my friends and I, we would like drive home from school and we would sing along to this song and we would like assign each other the roles. Like you're where he's like you're like Shock, you're Barrel, that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
And it was like we would kind of act it out, and as a result, it's not only incredibly sentimental to me, but this is like, it's so fun, it's so weird and funny and delightful, and not to mention, I feel like it really highlights the characters in a very much an ingenious way. Whereas some of the other songs that highlight a lot of minor characters, I feel like this one does it much more efficiently, if that makes sense. Where it really not only gets like the message across, the storyline, but also the characters' like whole personality really efficiently compared to a lot of other minor characters we've seen in Halloween Town.
110%.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Alex. Mine is a hard rockin' as well. I love the riff. I just love the energy of all three of them, and especially like on YouTube, there's a clip of like all three of them doing it live at the Hollywood Bowl.
I know.
It's so good, and it's so fun, and you hear and it's animated so well in the film. It's the perfect mixture of Halloween and Christmas. It's great. Abby, do you agree with us, or are you more in lines with more the downloaded spectrum?
I kind of agree. I'm gonna give it a rockin'.
Okay.
I love the little, what are they called? The little people. What are their, like, the team of kids?
Lock,
Shack, and Barrel.
Yeah. OOGIE'S boys.
Yeah, I just think they're iconic. This song is good. It's a really good time. I love listening to this, so I can't give it a hard rocking because I'm going to give it to something else, but I love this song.
Totally understandable, Abby. So we're going to go right into the next song, which is Making Christmas. I'm going to throw it over to Vanessa. What are your thoughts on Making Christmas, Vanessa?
With my screen playing
again.
Frozen again. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good.
But I'm going to give Making Christmas a shuffle it. I think that it's a lot of fun when, like, again, watching the movie and seeing them, make Christmas and sing the song. But it's not something that I would go back. Like, I will shuffle through it if I'm listening to the music. So it's a shuffle for me.
Cool. Abby, your thoughts on Making Christmas?
This is a download it for me. I love this song. It kind of like gets me in the vibe for Christmas. It just makes me like want to decorate, honestly. So, yeah.
It's a transition
What's your
song.
Christmas looking like? That's what I want to know.
with like dead
Very
rats.
spoopy.
With like ducks with like bullet holes in it.
Yeah.
Just hanging around the house casually.
It's a very creepy looking Christmas. But
Yeah, Abby. Alex, what are your thoughts on Making Christmas?
I would have to give it a download it. Personally, it's to me, it's definitely it's a bop. You know, it's a very specific and iconic theme. That's that's very iconic to the movie. That I feel like even everyone and my parents recognize the theme of. But it's not a song that I would listen to by itself. I would listen to it like I am excited to listening for the movie or listening to the soundtrack kind of thing, but I wouldn't actively search for the song specifically.
Yeah, I'm more of the shuffle it with this one. It is very situational to the film itself, and it is a transitional song. It just doesn't build up for me, and it doesn't really give me the reason to go back musically to it. So shuffle it, I think, is fair. It's very catchy, but it's very single note, and it's making Christmas dun 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 dun, doesn't change the rhythm. Yeah, so that for me is a little bit of a no thank you. So even though I would shuffle it, it's actually almost a one-time listen for me, but it's a cute little number and it is catchy. It's just a little too repetitive and bland for my take. But Kelsey, you might be a different opinion. What are your thoughts on Making Christmas?
My thoughts are similar on the ranking. I would put it as shuffle as well. My reasons are also because it is an earworm. It gets stuck in your head so bad. Back to like I was talking about working retail Christmas time. I like Hot Topic. Listen to it so much that we would be like putting stuff away and we just go dun 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 because there's like just so stuck in our head. Yeah. So songs like that do kind of wear me down a little bit after a while. So I mean, I put it on shuffle. I wouldn't like listen just it all the time, but it's definitely one of my least favorite on the soundtrack.
I totally understand that. And Vanessa, did I go to you, Vanessa, first?
Yeah, you already did.
Yeah, I went to you first. No, it's all good. It's all good. So we get into the villain song. The big baddie is introduced. His name is Oogie Boogie, and this is my second hard rockin'. I really dig the Oogie Boogie song. It's very, very Little Shop of Horrors. This is very Mean Green Mother from Outer Space, kind of like that same vocal quality. It's very, very jazzy. It's kind of scat. And it's Ken Page, I think, who voices him, is phenomenal. I wish we got more of Oogie singing because it's the only song he sings that made the cut. We'll get into that in a little bit. But Oogie, this is, again, an acclaimed villain song. And a phenomenally animated, and also Santa sings in it too. I forget who voices Santa, but again, the whole sequence is so sinister, so like Vegas, so well animated and lit, and oh god, this is such a beautiful, great, catchy number too. I'm gonna throw it over to Abby. Abby, what are your thoughts on Oogie Boogie?
So I'm actually gonna give it a downloaded.
Okay.
I like this song. I appreciate this song. I respect it, but I actually don't really like listening to it that much.
Interesting.
I usually only listen to it when I'm just listening through the album or if it comes up on a Halloween playlist or something. So it's still a good song, and it's like up there as like a Disney villain song, but like it's just not one of my personal faves.
That's the magic of music. It's subjective. Alex.
I'm using my second hard rockin' for this.
Oh wow, we both used them.
I know, it's weird how that happens. This is a song I associate most with the movie more than any other song in the entire soundtrack, more than Halloween, What's This, or anything, surprisingly. But I also, I actively really enjoyed this song for like a long time. But then I saw someone perform a burlesque dance to this song, and I saw it in a whole new way, and I was like, this is officially my favorite new song ever. I listened to it like 50 times a day, and it's now my favorite karaoke song. So it's so good, and it's like has a real girthiness to the song that I don't feel like any other songs in the entire soundtrack have. By comparison,
and it's a deep song, and that's your karaoke.
It's
a deep baritone. Wow, okay. Yeah, and also the soundtrack actually has a second verse that's cut from the film. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but there is a second verse there that was cut. Kelsey, what are your thoughts on Oogie Boogie?
All right, I said earlier that This Is Halloween is my favorite song in the movie. It is. But this one just packs a punch that This Is Halloween just doesn't. So this is my hard rocking one I'm using this time. Okay. I tend to sympathize with the villains. They tend to be my favorite. So Oogie Boogie's my favorite character in this movie. That scene is fantastic, and you're right, it's beautiful, it's colorful, it is so fun, and that song is a good get stuck in your head kind of song.
Yeah. I would just wish we got more Oogie. He's in the he's in the final scene, and that's it basically. Vanessa, what are your thoughts on Oogie?
Well, 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 what have we here?
Ooh.
I'm giving it a rockin'.
Okay, that's good.
I do enjoy this song only because I only had 2 hard rockins, and I had to give that to my top songs. But Oogie Boogie, everybody loves a villain. You got to have a really good villain song in movies. Yeah. So I think that Oogie Boogie is top tier villain song, and I love listening to it.
Ooh. Alex, I'm going to throw it to you for this one. This is a very quiet song, and it's sung by Sally, her only song, and it's called Sally's Song. Whoa! Mind blow. What are your thoughts on Sally's song?
Skip it.
Oh, okay.
Skip it.
You don't like? Oh, wow.
I love Catherine O'Hara. She's fantastic, but I don't care about this song all that much. I like Fiona Apple's version of the song significantly more, but I hear the song and I'm like, oh.
Let's get on with it. Yeah, let's get on with it.
I hear Oogie Boogie
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I got you. Yeah, and I do appreciate though in the film like there's this cool animation of like the thing burning up. That's cool. That's the only memorable part for me, and I'm kind of in line with Alex. I gave it a one-time listen, but yeah. Abby. Oh.
Technology.
I love it.
Chill, I guess.
Oh, okay.
No.
R.I.P. Oh, there she is.
There she is. What were you saying? What were you saying, Alex? Before I throw it over to Abby, you cut out.
Oh, that's it. That's all I got. Girl, take it away before I go out again.
Oh, it's
Alex,
all good.
I'm about to have you shook because I'm going to give this a hard rockin'.
Oh, my God.
Girl, you know what? I respect that, okay? I respect that, okay?
I like this.
I love this song. This is always the first song I listen to, like, on my Halloween playlist. I don't know why. I just, like, super duper love this song. I think that the way Catherine O'Hara sings it is really beautiful. Like, the lyrics are just beautiful. I love this song.
Wow. Okay, so we both nail it in the bud, and that's great. I love the differing opinions. It's awesome. Kelsey,
People
are you
allowed to be wrong?
Yeah.
Okay?
And look, we didn't even argue. There was no big beef.
It's all good.
Amazing, so you know.
So, Kelsey, are you team us or are you team Abby with Sally's song? Are you muted? Kelsey?
I do agree with you guys. I have it as a one-time listen. I enjoy the song in the movie, all right, but it's just such a downer and kind of depressing, and just like I'm never in the mood to feel that when I'm listening to music necessarily, unless I'm already in that mood, I guess. So it's one I don't really like go look for because just it's good in the movie. I just don't listen to it outside of the movie very much.
Yeah, I love the diversity of the panel right now. It's great. Vanessa, what are your thoughts on Sally's song?
It's a skip it for me as well.
Oh.
I like in the context of the song or in the movie because it fits for Sally. She's kind of like nobody's listening to her and she has all the answers. But outside of it, and when I'm listening to the soundtrack, I don't often go to this song. I usually do skip it, so it's a skip it for me.
It's all good, guys.
I'm sorry, Abby.
It's okay.
I mean, Abby loves it, and that's phenomenal.
Okay.
That is phenomenal. Abby's what we thought Kelsey was going to be. That's great. So, well, in the final 2 songs, guys, this is probably going to be less than like 40 minutes. This is a great, chill, quick in and out episode. The penultimate song in the graveyard after Jack gets shot down. Poor Jack. Oh my God. I'm going to throw it to you, Alex. What are your thoughts on Poor Jack?
This is definitely a fun song, a solid song, but I feel like this is a song that requires visuals, and that's why, I would have to say I would give it a shuffle it personally. I feel like it's a great song, but it's not a song that I actively search for when listening to the soundtrack alone.
I really like the power of Danny Elfman's voice in this. Because it's him getting angry. This is before he goes to get and fight Oogie, which we're going to get to in a second. But I really like it. I really do. I gave it a download it, and it's a very strong download, and it's almost a rockin', but only for what some of the reasons you did say, Alex, and also for the fact that maybe it doesn't translate as well outside of the soundtrack as maybe it should, but it's still powerful. Very powerful. Kelsey.
Yeah, this one I do have as Shuffle It. I do like this song. To me, it's a song that I need to be seeing the movie, like actually seeing the visuals to kind of feel what I want to be feeling. But the vocals, the tone, everything is beautiful in this song, but it's not one I'm in the mood for. But it comes up on Shuffle, I'm not going to skip it. It's a good song.
All right. Abby.
Honestly, I'm gonna put it at a one-time listen. I can't think of how it goes right now. So.
Oh, he's on
Enough said.
Yeah.
Enough
Like,
said.
I can't sing it to myself right now, so I'm just gonna give it a one-time listen. I probably know the melody when I listen to it, like just when I listen through the album, but that's what I'm gonna put it at.
It's essentially just
He
it's
wraps his arms around the angel. It's a cool thing.
It's it's basically an aggressive reprise of "I Am Jack the Pumpkin King." It's just a very aggressive reprise of it. Vanessa.
I give this one a shuffle as well. I think that there are some stronger Jack songs, as we already know, which I did for. But it's still good. You know, it starts off slow, and then just in Danny Elfman fashion in this movie, he pulls a punch right at the end. So I do like listening to it, but I'm giving it a shuffle.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the finale, I did want to say Jack does go up against Oogie in that whole roulette wheel kind of furnace area. Fun fact. Danny Elfman wrote a duet for them to sing on the roulette wheel that never got animated. That was put into the sequel video game, Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. And since it's a video game soundtrack, I can play a clip of it. This is a clip of the cut duet between Oogie and yeah.
I know.
What a pest you are! Still around, huh? Oh! Can't say I like that! So why don't you just give up? You know, surrender!
It's over! It's over! Your scheme was bound to fail! It's over! You're finished here! Your next stop will be jail!
He mocks me! He fights me! I don't know which is worse! I might just split a seam now if I don't die laughing first!
I wish that was in the fan film. That would have been great. It's basically.
Can we just give this a hard rockin'?
Along in the back. I'm like, yeah.
I can't believe it's in a video game. What a travesty.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a reprise of the Oogie Boogie song, but it was going to be a duet between Jack and Oogie. And I, if that was in the finale there, before this finale we're going to get to, that would have been fun. I don't think that would have killed the movie at all. That would have been, and it's a set piece that was asking for that, and you can picture it. You can literally picture it. Anyway, we're going to get into the
sexy song. It's a sexy song, guys. You guys are going at each other. That's a sexy song. Okay.
So go on YouTube and search "Filthy Finale." It's the first thing that pops up. It's a bop. Anyway, I hope that I blew some people's minds with that one. Anyway, we're gonna go right into the final track, which is the finale. It's basically a reprise for kind of Making Christmas and all the kind of tunes you've heard in kind of like a Christmassy fashion, very musically, and the snow is on the ground in Halloween Town. I'm going to throw it over to Alex. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't remember it at all, to be honest, so I'm going to say a one-time listen. I feel bad I don't. I'm sorry. I don't remember anything about this song. Considering it's a finale, I feel like I should remember it, but I don't. So, hard pass.
Oh, it's all good. Abby?
I'm gonna give it a shuffle it, because I just... Oh, bye, Chris.
We are live. We are live.
Yeah. I like listening to it when I listen through the album, but I don't necessarily listen to it by itself like I would with This Is Halloween or Sally's Song or something.
It's all cool. Sorry about that. I didn't take care of something. Kelsey, what are your thoughts on the finale?
Yeah, while watching the movie, I think it's a perfect finale song. It's just kind of bringing all the songs together. It's like a good little bow on the package. But when you're listening to the soundtrack, it's not necessarily necessary for the mood I'm going for while I'm listening to the soundtrack. So I have it as shuffle. I'm not going to download it. I probably won't actively go look for it. But it comes on, I'll be like, oh, I remember this part. And probably listen to it, or at least listen to most of it before I skip it. So.
Yeah, for a finale, I'm kind of like, I wish we got the OOGIE song. That would have been great. That would have been perfect. But honestly, from what I understand, the movie was under budget, and obviously they couldn't do the duet on the roulette wheel, so they went with this instead. Mm-hmm. And it's still very eclectic. It's still fun. It's a happy, smoothie ending. Doesn't translate well on the soundtrack, and it's the first finale I'm going to give a skip. I've never done that before, but it doesn't really end the movie like I wish it did. Like, I do like the soft duet on the hill at the end. I do like that part, but the build up to it, it doesn't grab me. I wish it was better. Now, Vanessa, what are your thoughts on the finale?
I gave it a download because I do love when you take all the songs that you heard in the movie and they kind of bring it together, because it's like, oh, this is the end. Let's give you, like, it's when they shoot up all the fireworks all at once and everyone's like, ah, and then it kind of ends. That's kind of what it is. So I give it a download.
Yeah. So guys, that's actually it. That's the entire soundtrack. So what I'm gonna do, this is. Is
this a record?
This is like almost. I think Tangled was like maybe 3 minutes shorter, but this is great. This is a record for 5 people on a call. Yeah. This was a great discussion. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw it on to each of you. What are your final thoughts on the record, and what would you give it overall? I'm gonna throw it over to Kelsey. What are your thoughts on the record, and what would you give it as a rating overall?
Out of 5?
Yep.
Okay.
Out of 5. You can even give it a hard rocking if you want to.
Okay. As I said, like, this movie is one I don't go to very often. I like it fine. I think I kind of got burned out on it because, like Alex was talking about her Hot Topic days, which mine never ended. But but the soundtrack, I do have a very soft spot for it. It is very memorable. It is iconic. It's iconic for 2 holidays. Like, it's managed to overtake the mindset of 2 different holidays with it. So I would have it as a rocking. I think it's a very rocking soundtrack.
Cool. Alex, I know that we made it. So Alex, what are your final thoughts on the soundtrack, and what would you give it? And I know you have to leave, so also let me know where the good people can find you online.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to actually start this episode of Cinema Bias. We're going to be covering Children of Men, directed by Alfonso Cuarón, here in a few minutes. So definitely stop by over the Video Drew channel. It's going to be so much fun. I guarantee it. But yeah, this soundtrack I feel like, honestly, is really, really fantastic. The movie is definitely one of the most iconic animated films in film history. I don't think that's, arguable at all, but it's definitely in the conversation. It's one of the most iconic for sure, visually speaking. The soundtrack is wonderful. I feel like there are less than 5 songs specifically that really speak to my heart, but this is definitely a downloaded soundtrack, but a hard-rocking few songs.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex, for spending time with us and talking Nightmare Before Christmas. Keep rocking. Abby, what...
Bye, guys.
See you, Alex. Abby, what are your thoughts on...
I'm going to give the whole soundtrack a 3 out of 5. I think that the movie itself, I think I like more. I listen to this every Halloween, but I don't necessarily always watch the movie. And so and most of the songs I like, but as I said over the episode, there are some that I don't even remember or just don't listen to. So that's why I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm kind of almost on the same page with you, Abby. It's not that, it's just that a lot of the goods is good, but a lot of the stuff that doesn't translate is there, and it is prevalent. I'm not going to give it, I'm going to give it a download, but it's a very low download. It doesn't quite get to the shuffle it for me, but there are great bangers, and it's a great set of songs, but the movie itself you need to watch, because the movie is a Christmas classic for a reason, and it's animated beautifully, and a lot of these songs translate better on screen. Last but not least, Vanessa, what has changed since the last time you watched this and did this for Suddenly Soundtracks?
I mean, not a whole lot has really changed. I still love the movie, and I watch it, every year during this time. I'll watch it during Halloween. I will watch it during Christmas time. I'll watch it during Thanksgiving because, it's a holiday movie. I give it a download because of the way that certain of the songs I don't really care for. There are songs that I'm like, yes, I got to listen to these all the time. Or when I'm in the mood for listening to these. So I do give it a download for that. It would have been a rockin' had they had put the duet in there. I will say
that would have been great, right?
But they didn't. So I feel like we should crowdfund something and get, Tim Burton and Danny Elfman and all of them to come and animate this, and then just do it as like a separate, those shorts that they put at the beginning of the Disney movies. They should make one like that.
They could just reanimate the whole roulette sequence and make it a music number like it was supposed to. But I guess that would have been great because then you would have it would have been awesome.
It would be a lot of fun.
I feel bad for showing that now because now it kind of makes the finale worse.
Yeah, you honestly ruined you influenced my score for the overall soundtrack by showing me just that one snippet of the song.
You guys need to listen to it though. It's Filthy Finale on YouTube. The full version is great because they rewrote a couple lyrics because he obviously doesn't become a giant, but they rewrote it for a little bit of it for the video game. But you could tell the essence is still there. It was just going to be a giant reprise of Oogie Boogie song. So I'm going to throw it over to Kelsey. Where can the good people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on Call to Action Podcast throughout the week. Get your Schmodown news and things. It's a lot of fun over there. And of course, this weekend you'll see me at the Smash-a-thon. Please show up. It's going to be a fantastic night of fun. We can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, it's going to be November 14th to 15th. We plugged it at the beginning, and we're going to be doing Family Feud and stuff. It's going to be great. Check out Sean's Twitter. Check out the Call to Action Twitter. Check out everything. We're all going to be a part of it and supporting everything. And yes, Brandy even has your Twitter right there, Kelsey. So that's awesome. Abby, where can the good people find you? I'm going to shift the videos up.
Y'all can find me at Abigail Friel on all social media. And I run the Schmodown TikTok. So please check that out if you have TikTok. Trying to get some 10K followers soon, so please check that out. Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris.
Quality content over at the TikTok.
Thank you. Thanks, Brandy.
Vanessa, where can the good people find you? And I know that you're probably going to come back to Suddenly Soundtracks at some point.
Because I'm still waiting for that Fan of the Opera. They can over at Late to the Party on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram and all that. But you can also find me at my personal one, So Vanessary, as well, when I do random stuff and I post random things.
Cool. So, guys, next week for Suddenly Soundtracks, I announced it a couple of days ago, but it will be Sing Street. Max, Paul D, Tim Franco, Kristen, and a star who's played it on stage, Max Bartos, I think that I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. He's going to be joining us for Sing Street, and that's going to be fun. Make sure to also check out the playback of Nightmare Before Christmas to watch along, and be sure to play the playback of the Suddenly Soundtracks Soundboard Survivor Island. And we did raise over that weekend over $11,000 for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And be sure to check out on Friday. We are going to be doing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. A couple friends of mine from actually that stream are going to be joining us, so that's going to be fun. And the Patreon and our Patreon producers are great. I shouted them out: Brandy Parker, Ricardo Franco, Brandon Buckingham, Fairs Muthana, Molly Damon, Jake Berlin, Michael K, Stephen Wright, and Bedour. From Abby Friel, from Kelsey Kirkland, from Vanessa, from Late to the Party, and from myself, we say to you, keep rocking, and I'm hoping I can get this clip and it not be too awkward. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisClog8788. Those numbers mean nothing. Bada boom.